What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about on a daily basis, including money, investing, the stock market, the fourth stimulus package update, and a stimulus check update. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below as it's completely free to do so. And remember that new videos come out here on our YouTube channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also, thanks so much for hitting the like button for us down below. We got a lot to talk about here today. There is now new concerns of a gas shortage, and it's already beginning here, starting in Mexico. Check this out. Yeah, you could see directly here from Reuters, Mexico has now suspended the gasoline subsidy as U.S. drivers are crossing the border that live close to Mexico because Mexico gas is cheaper. They have less taxes there. And Mexico's now suspended the gasoline subsidy. And also, well, one of the main reasons is, as you'll see here, Mexico, which has been subsidizing gasoline to soften price spikes, said on Saturday the policy would not apply in the U.S. border region this week, citing shortages as more Americans drive south to fill their tanks if they live close to the border. So Mexico is already starting to see gasoline shortages as more Americans drive south to fill their tanks. Yeah, that's right. The suspension of the subsidy from April 2nd through the 8th covers cities in the border states of multiple different regions, as you can see here, including Baja California and Tijuana, one of the world's busiest border crossings. You can see all these different regions here. Mexico's finance ministry said in a statement there was a gasoline shortage in the area from an imbalance between supply and demand. The finance ministry said in the United States, gasoline prices are higher than in Mexico, and citizens of the country cross the border to stock up, the finance ministry said. Also, some of this has to do with the peso versus the dollar, so keep that in mind, and taxes on gasoline, which you know how that works. As fuel prices have spiked after Russia invaded Ukraine, more people living in the U.S. are driving across the border in Mexico in search of lower gas prices. Mexico's subsidy has been championed by the government of President Andre Manuel Lopez Obrador, who has long promised to insulate consumers from sharp price hikes at the pump. And the U.S. is now considering kind of doing this with reducing gas taxes, pausing gas taxes, and stimulus checks. We covered this pretty well in our last video or two. In an interview with Reuters on Friday, Deputy Finance Minister Gabriel Llorio said Mexico planned to use the extra revenue from higher oil prices to subsidize domestic gasoline and diesel prices. Yeah, so what do you think about Mexico dealing with gasoline shortages now? Very interesting. Yeah, the question here begs is that are we going to see this in other parts of the world, such as the US or Europe, which is trying to wean off of Russian oil, which supplies a massive part of oil? Russia supplies a massive part of oil to Europe. And the U.S. is also trying to help supply oil to Europe as they try to wean off of Russian oil. And remember that we have, officially said that we're not going to buy any more Russian oil. We only bought anywhere from 3 to 8% of our oil from Russia, which is not that big of a deal. It fluctuates. Sometimes it's as high as 8%, sometimes it's as low as 3%. But remember, we're also a net exporter of oil. As high as 38% of our oil, U.S. oil, actually gets exported. So even though we import oil from multiple different countries, we actually export 38% of our oil. I know this can be a little bit confusing, but we're buying oil and selling oil at the same time. And a lot of this is not really a government say. It's not really a Biden thing or a Trump thing per se. It's not really a Democrat or Republican thing, but it actually has to do with the oil companies, which are getting a lot of criticism right now because of their price gouging on the consumer, which is kind of crazy how bad it is right now. We've talked about this in some past videos, but BP, Shell, Exxon, all the major oil companies kind of make the decision whether or not they want to sell the oil overseas or not. So sometimes they sell it overseas, sometimes they just sell it here in the U.S. And that's just a business decision. So a lot of that has to do with it. And the thing is, the longer the war in Ukraine and Russia on Ukraine goes on, the longer the price of gas and oil is going to stay high. And remember, it fluctuates by the day. It can continue to go even higher on any given day. We see massive spikes happen at any given time. And yeah, I mean, we're seeing articles like this or announcements like this. The country of Lithuania has just decided or just joined the United States to ban Russian gas imports. So now the United States and Lithuania have now decided to ban Russian gas imports. So another country that is not going to be buying Russian gas. Poland wants to halt Russian oil and gas on Ukraine invasion. And remember, the entire European Union as well. You could see here the EU pledges to cut Russian gas imports by 2/3 before the end of the year. This is the entire European Union, which is multiple countries, a 27 member bloc. That's a lot of countries. So think about, I mean, literally Russia is just gas and oil. So you want to hit Russia hard, you want to end the war, and this is an ongoing thing. This is potentially just, hitting them financially forever because they want to not just stop after the war is ended, but learn the lesson to, end this forever. Um, but this could really hit Putin and hit Russia forever. Okay. But the problem is that, well, the longer this war goes on, it affects us here at home. This is driving gas prices high. The longer this war goes on, the higher our gas prices here in the United States stay high. This is directly affecting our gas prices. It's directly affecting our food prices here. I'll get to food shortages here in a moment. But not only do we want this war to end because of people dying in Ukraine, but it's also affecting our pockets, our inflation, everything here. But look at how bad things are. Check this out. And don't forget, we had that new news, if you watched my recent video, that there could be peace. Well, remember, I said we can't trust Putin as far as we can throw him. Yeah. Here's the latest news. Zelensky accuses Russia of genocide. Yeah, here's what's happening. And even other countries are backing up these claims. So it's not just Ukraine. Even Germany is accusing Russia of this. So this is pretty bad here. This is pretty bad. And they're saying that this is the most outrageous atrocity of the 21st century. Yeah, so being reported here today, Ukrainian forces moved into the town near Kyiv and found what officials and witnesses said were the bodies of 300 civilians killed by Russian troops during a month-long observation. And victims were seen by Reuters in a mass grave lying in the streets. Quote, without an exaggeration by what we have seen in Bucha and vicinity, we can conclude that Russia is worse than ISIS in the scale and ruthlessness of the crimes committed. Regarding the possibility of a meeting between Ukrainian President Zelensky and Russian President Putin, said that Ukraine was ready despite all crimes and atrocities committed by Russia. I'll note that this is graphic. What I'm going to say here: these people were not in the military. They had no weapons. They posed no threat. And I'm not going to show a video, but they were executed with their hands tied behind their backs, and they were scattered in the streets of the city. Yeah, so you can see the headlines here. That this what happened here in Bucha is the most outrageous atrocity of the 21st century, and this is just being uncovered here. And really, really sad day. Um, and that this is it's sad to report that this kind of stuff can be that this kind of stuff can happen here in today's day and age. On one hand, it's like, how can peace talks even happen when you have stuff like this happening? But then on the other hand, you got to think that, well, we have to do peace talks to end this, or somebody's got to surrender. And Putin's not going to surrender. They're nowhere even close to that happening, right? Like, if you the problem, if you think about like what happened in World War II with Hitler, to get Hitler, think about what had to happen. If you actually study what happened in World War II, because I've kind of done that a decent amount, and I've watched a lot of documentaries on World War II from a lot of different sources, so I don't get like a biased uh, perspective or anything. They had to do a full blown invasion to do that. That took a long time, so you can't just go get Putin. It's not something that would happen quickly. It would be like a full blown thing. And remember that Putin's got a lot of nukes, a lot of nukes. And Putin said that, or that their Ministry of Defense, I think it was, said that they wouldn't use nukes, quote, unless that their homeland was attacked. But that's the problem, is that stopping Putin would probably take something like that unless there's peace talks. He's not going to surrender, and you can't just get him to surrender without a full blown invasion. Well, a full blown invasion, he's got thousands of nukes. So you got to kind of think that whole thing through. So Putin's not going to surrender. So the only way to get him to stop is to either cripple him financially, which, the world stopping buying his oil is one way of doing that. Because remember that basically the vast majority of their economy is oil. And also all the companies, McDonald's and all these companies that have literally fled the country, is going to help as well. All the sanctions all that stuff is starting to add up. Okay. Little by little, or a lot by lot, all these things are adding up. Remember, those companies are probably never going to go back there, the majority of them, right? But Putin surrendering. I mean, they're not even attacking Russia. I mean, there's been one tiny little attack right across the border. We don't even know if it was Ukraine or if it was just staged by Russia, right? On one tiny little oil facility. I mean, that does literally nothing to Russians. We don't even know if Russia just did it just as a news ploy, right? That's just say, oh, look, Ukraine attacked us. I mean, it literally is nothing, right? The problem is that this hurts Americans. This hurts us in our pocketbooks. This hurts inflation. This hurts gas. But look at what this is doing to Ukraine. And then there's always the possibility of this could start World War III. And this is exactly how World War II started. and all this stuff has to go into consideration on everything that we're all thinking about and everything that we're all dealing with. This is globally affecting us all. There's a lot of stuff to consider here. And every time you go to fill up gas, every time you go to the grocery store and it costs more, this is already affecting us. This is already affecting us. And look at what they're dealing with in Ukraine. And just imagine if this turns into a bigger situation. Like I said, there's a lot to consider here, and you can't just how do you get Putin to stop? How do you get Putin to stop? And remember, he's deep inside Russia. You can't just go in there quickly. I mean, remember how long it took in World War II to get Hitler to stop, and then remember that Putin's got thousands of nukes. It's not a quick scenario to end any of this. So let me know your thoughts here. I will keep you up to date here with everything that you need to know about. I just did some really good videos on stimulus here in the last couple videos. So I'll link you to those videos here right now. Make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't yet. It's completely free to do so. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can click here to watch my newest video next, which is Nancy Pelosi talking about new stimulus checks coming out here for everybody in the country. So click on that video next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.